All right, so I think we can slowly dive into it. So first of all, appreciation to Peter, who organizes these wonderful events and wonderful chances to meet people across the world, and hopefully do helpful things together and support each other. So my gratitude and appreciation for your work, Peter. And today I would like to talk a little bit about eco-anxiety and eco-grief. And so myself, I am the founder and co-director of the Inner Green Deal, and we are offering evidence-based programs, and we use contemplative methods that help actually to foster a mindset shift in terms of sustainability. And we work with universities together to explore that. And within our programs, there are always sections around the topic of eco-grief and eco-anxiety. And I think it's a very important topic because mostly the young adults suffer a lot from eco-grief and eco-anxiety. So at the beginning, I will share a presentation and talk you a little bit through the topic so that we can have a sense of it. I also summarized the latest research, what can we do about it, about eco-anxiety. The research is still very young, so there's still a lot to do in terms of eco-anxiety and research, but there are already some evidence around what we can do. So I like to share that, and then we do a practice together, and then I'm open for any questions that you have, or remarks or experiences that you like to share. All right, so I'm going to share a presentation and guide you through that. And would be just nice to see a thumb up if you can see anything. Great, thank you. Okay. So I think the first thing I want to say, which I feel is really important to understand, and I know a lot of people, we have a lot of people with eco-anxiety in our programs, that this is the most natural reaction and very healthy reaction of our biological system when a threat occurs. So it's not that people, many people think they're sick or not okay. I would say it's the most intelligent actually reaction of our brain to make us survive, to bring us into movement, emotion, the movement, to do something about it. And yes, it is a very unpleasant feeling. And if it's very strong and for a long period of time, it can lead to depression. It can lead to, sleeplessness, stress reaction, numbness, anger, to all sorts of other reactions. But nevertheless, eco-anxiety wants to tell you something. It wants you to be active. It wants you to do something. And yet at the same time, you all know when it's very strong, it actually blocks us from moving forward. So I think the first thing you all can do, and people who suffer from eco-anxiety, tell them it is an intelligent reaction. It's not something that is stupid. And the tendency, for sure, if we feel something that is unpleasant, what do? We want to suppress it. We want to reject it. We don't want to have it. And that leads actually to make it stronger instead of understanding the message, understanding that eco-anxiety wants to help us, and then learning slowly to embrace it and to understand the message behind. So that just as an introduction, because I feel the people I'm working with very often, they think they are not okay that they suffer from eco-anxiety. So I think that's a very strong message to give. And in general, when we look at signs, and this is a very well-known survey done with more actually than 10,000 young people between 15 and 24. And here you can see, all on the right side, on the lower side, right side, you can see all these, they were asked, you know, what makes you feel the climate change? And they said sad, afraid, anxious, angry, powerless, guilty, optimistic, some indifferent. Yeah, but there are many unpleasant feelings that actually were listed when they were asked. And also that, you know, the young adults are extremely worried, very worried. It's almost 50% of that population, which is a lot. And I've heard just recently that in South Africa, 64% of the young people, young adults, are approaching psychologists because of eco-anxiety. If that is really true, I read it in a scientific magazine. That's really a lot, and that, you know, what will happen with this generation if they suffer so much from eco-anxiety. Yeah? And you can also see the Philippines, India, so the vulnerable countries that are already impacted by climate crisis. They are strongly worried, which is very natural because they already experience it a lot. And then there are these other countries where, you know, the impact is not that strong, but even there, slowly, more and more people, even in the age of kindergarten, are impacted by this eco-anxiety, which then is more, you know, they look in the future, they think about the future, and then they become anxious. But those who are vulnerable, living in those kind of vulnerable countries who are very strongly impacted, they really experience it already. And there the anxiety actually emerges in the present moment of the threat, right? So that's interesting to see that this is really increasing a lot. And but it's not a disease. It's just a very natural, healthy reaction. Yeah. So, but when we are in that state, just to understand, when we talk about the climate crisis and we want to do something, we want to actually be active and impactful, well, we need a creative brain, right? We need to use our resources. We need to use our talents together to create impactful actions so that we can shift something or change something. But in the state of anxiety, we have little access to our capacities. We have little access to our talents, and specifically also to our conceptual thinking. So, and analyze things. We cannot do that when we are in the state of eco-anxiety or anxiety in general. And then even suppressing it, trying to not feel it, needs so much energy on top that we don't have any capacity left to really think, feel, connect, use our talents, and create something new. So it's very counterproductive actually to solve our problems, because when we want to solve complex problems, we need collaboration. But when you're anxious and in that state, the last thing you want is to collaborate. So it needs an effort to, you know, move towards the other side, to the other side. And we don't need to move from eco-anxiety to happiness. The only thing is we need to relax into that anxiety, which is not so easy. And then usually we can work with it, start working with it. So when we think about a whole generation is stuck into eco-anxiety, then we don't have the societal power actually to shift the mindset of our society. So we have to do something about it. And I think it's a super important topic to research how to go about it and what to do. And and the good news, as I said, there is already research out there. And I was astonished. I went through a lot of research articles and you know, we filtered everything that we could find that is already evident. And I was a little bit astonished in a way, and you will be too. So simple. It's so simple actually to work with this, but we have to do it. So, and I will show you now the suggestions that they have, and that might be also helpful for you. So the very first thing that is in most all of the research articles that you find is meet like-minded people. So, which means, that you can sit together and speak openly about your emotions without any response. So the important thing is that you not start discussing it, so that just people can offer, whatever they feel, how they feel, what their worries are, to just share it in an open, safe space and listen to the others who feel similar. And that actually lowers the arousal of eco-anxiety. People don't feel isolated. They don't feel, oh, I am not okay. I'm the only one in the world that is not okay. So they also suggest, whether you work in NGOs or organizations or in your family, in your private community, invite others where they suffer from eco-anxiety and speak openly about those feelings and take that time and space, because it needs time and space, um, and step out of the busyness of our usual working life or daily life and really sit together and speak openly about it. And the second thing they said, also in all research articles, they found out that little actions together, very often when you're suffering from eco-anxiety, you feel helplessness. You feel you cannot do anything. And this overwhelming climate crisis is, a burden on your shoulders, and you're stuck in a freeze, like you're frozen and you don't move into action. So doing small actions together, um, like, I mean, this is the typical thing, but it's very helpful. I was just in an organization and they have these climate circles where they have like group, like councils, where they can speak openly about their emotions. And then they decide tiny little action. So they just went through the street before in front of their organizations and collected all the plastic and put it, to the right place. And that led actually to, oh, I can move, I can do something, I can loosen up, I can, it makes sense. But the important thing is doing it together, and it should be very simple, very, very simple. Or if you have grandchildren or children, take them and just plant, a flower, and then maybe invite other teenies and plant one tree and celebrate that, or do something else, or go to a flea market and offer something that can be reused. Very small, very similar, very simple actions that help really to lower the anxiety. And then prioritize self-care. So, meditation practice, self-regulating methods, gratitude practices, compassion practices that help, just simply to connect to yourself and calm your mind. And then also what they emphasize very strongly, nature walks. So connect with nature and really feel being part of nature. And nature gives you a lot of strength, gives you the feeling of belonging to something, and also do that not alone. So it's always doing it together, doing things together, together, together. That's really very clear, that should be done together. And also in nature, what they say is, because of the cycle of nature and different, phases in the year, you learn about impermanence, and that helps you to also learn that eco-anxiety is not a permanent emotion. It has different phases, and maybe one day it's gone, it came, and, it might go one day again. So that is also very helpful. And then they said, absolutely stop reading newspapers, stop looking at all the crises, but try to look at local events. If there's a local community or local farmers, so reading more about positive events that are happening locally, and narrow a little bit your outlook. Don't look at the global sphere, but just narrow a little bit your mind and look at your community, what is happening there. And there are for sure any kind of or some kind of initiatives. And the last thing, if you feel like nothing helps, well, then you have to approach a psychologist or a doctor or any other helping system that helps you to find professional help if it's already too strong or lasts already for a very long time. Yeah. So this is what we found, which you find in almost every research. And then there are some other things, but they're not already evident, where you think like, it needs a little bit more time to make sure that these things are really helpful. Yeah, so that's actually about this part. And gratitude practice that you might know in different aspects already, but that's something that's very helpful, because they say if you can feel again the gratitude for what you have already and what is there, because even if there is, the environment is really damaged, there's always some highlight, there's always something that works, otherwise you wouldn't be alive. So feeling that gratitude again gives you a different outlook. It allows you to look differently to the world again. Yeah. So I stop the presentation, and I would like to dive into that practice now. And whatever questions arose during that presentation, please come back with those questions later on. Okay, so I guess you were sitting on a chair. So if there is a cushion close to your place, take a moment to settle into that seat. And you might want to close the video or shut it down. That's fine. So take a moment to settle in. You can either close your eyes or leave them slightly open. Allow your back to be upright. And maybe with the next exhalation, relax your shoulders. And allow your head to balance with ease on top of your spine. And allow yourself that there is right now nothing to do and nowhere to go. Just simply be. Simply sit on your chair and do nothing. And while you do nothing, notice what releases inside of you. Allow yourself to release all unnecessary tension in your body. Maybe with each and every exhalation, you can let go more and more of any tiny tension that you might notice in your body. Now gently bring your attention all the way down to your feet. Your soles, your toes, ankles. And perhaps you notice sensations of warmth or coolness or other sensations in your feet. And whatever is there, very simply just notice. There's no need for any effort. Now moving your attention upwards to your lower legs, your knees, and your thighs. Perhaps you notice contact with your clothes or the chair, maybe vibrations or itching in your legs. And if you don't feel anything, then that's what you feel right now. There's nothing to be judged. Simply notice with kindness. And when thoughts come and pull you away, just notice that with kindness and come back to your legs. Now connect with the feeling of gratitude for your feet and legs, which actually allow you to stand, to sit, to move around naturally. Just simply be grateful that you have those both legs and feet. And even if you are paralyzed, they are there for you. And they work for you in very different ways. They bring you from A to B. They allow you to reach your goals. And they do this every day for you. Just feel the gratitude for your legs. Now sense your back, noticing the sensations in your lower back and other parts of your back. And be grateful that your back helps you to be so flexible, allowing you to bend, to rotate, and explore different directions, looking at this world from different angles. So give a moment of appreciation for your back that gives you so much flexibility. Now bringing your attention to your chest, noticing the movement of your chest and on the rhythm of your breath. And how beautifully flexible the bones in your chest are to allow the lungs to unfold as much as possible to inhale the fresh air. And that this is happening without any effort. So infuse your mind with gratefulness for that movement and the flexibility of your chest. Now from here, move to your shoulders and then to your arms, feeling both arms, the upper arms, elbows, lower arms, hands and fingers. You might notice warmth, coolness, contact with clothes, tightness, without any judgment. So simply be grateful for your arms and hands and how they have been serving you your whole life. Through them, you carry things around, cook, eat, write, and specifically hug others and make contact with others. So sensing gratefulness for your arms and hands. And now shifting your attention towards your head, where most senses are located. And how wonderful it is that you have these senses, being grateful for the sight, smell, taste, and hearing. These senses as they open the door to this world and let the world come to you. Just realize how they help you to connect to the people around you and to your environment. Now, for a short moment, just zoom out and feel your entire body sitting here, sensing your body as a whole. And simply again, be grateful for this vulnerable and yet resilient body. And that whatever is there, just meet it with kindness. And with that sense of gratefulness, zoom out and become aware of your outer world, your home or your office with its rooms, furniture, windows, everything that it offers. Protection, comfort, joy. Feel that it cannot be taken for granted what you have. And finally, moving further out and open up to our planet, becoming aware of the planet and feel what the planet provides for you still. Vegetables, fruit, plants, tree, air, animals, bird sounds, friends, other humans. Just simply feel that this is just simply provided for you. Now let go of all of that and just rest for a moment in the sensations of gratefulness, of gratitude, and sense where you feel mostly in your body gratitude for your own body, your life, your environment, the planet, and everything that you have. And then you might want to take a deep breath and slowly, slowly take your time to come back. And maybe you want to stretch yourself a little bit or give some sounds, some O's and A's and E's and O's. All right, so I'm sorry, I just looked at the watch. We have 32. And but still, if you like, you can just write, your experience of this practice into the chat or just unmute and share it. And there's always time still for questions. I'm here. And everyone who has to leave, lovely that you have been here. Very nice that you shared that time with us together. And I wish you a wonderful rest of the day.